Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Utopia Coliseum is the arena and Minor League Esports is the league. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MLE Esports, presented by APM Music. I, myself, am Lychee, and we are in for a rip-roaring night of some fantastic Rocket League. Joining me for the first time in quite a while is the inimitable, inanimate Jay. What's going on, Jay? How you been?
I've been good. Saw a couple of matches with Fallen last night. A couple more queued up here to start things off on a Showdown Sunday, as always. And this one is one that might be for all the marbles in the Tropic Division. The Sharks and the Pandas fighting it out with their games in hand, both now trailing the Flames for the provisional lead going into the final week of the regular season.
Sharks, we were looking at the statistics before we went live, Jay, and something I noticed that was very, very strange. Pandas and Flames both sitting on a net 0 goal differential. Flames not playing in this matchup tonight. This is Pandas versus Sharks. The Sharks are on a positive 25 goal differential, and they're sitting in third place. Even more curious is the fact that when you take specific divisional goal difference into account, the Pandas are at -2 and the Sharks are at a positive 22. So if anyone is a betting man or woman out there, they are probably going to put a couple of bucks the Sharks' way. I know I personally would probably be leaning in that direction tonight.
Well, the one interesting thing for the Sharks coming into this one, they're playing a reserve in their GM in Adi, having to come in for the Pope 870 in this one, playing alongside Hobo, who's been a stalwart member of the Sharks throughout the last couple of seasons, up against the Pandas roster that made its way all the way to the championship last season, only to fall in a sweep to the eventual winners in the Hurricanes. You figure that the Pandas are probably a close bet to make the playoffs again. Both of these teams really should be, given how much control over the wildcard race that they have. But yet there's still work to be done. Both of these teams could still end up on the outside of the wildcard race, depending on how bad this gets into a slugfest. If both of these teams start splitting wins, there's room for a couple of teams potentially to slip in there and possibly make one of these teams or both end up being losers come playoff time.
We're getting to the end of the season, as we mentioned. Things are really, really getting down to the wire. Sharks sitting in third, Pandas sitting in first, but this could all change tonight. Let's look at some pictures elsewhere in the conference standings. We see that the Outlaws are sitting third, Comets second, Pirates first. Very, very strong position, especially when you take into consideration their individual statistics. You kind of get the feeling, Jay, that no matter how well any of these Tropic Division opponents do tonight, they're going to have a tough spot taking away those three higher playoff qualification positions come the end of tonight.
Well, depending on the outcome of this one, too, the Tyrants in the first seed right now, but it's provisional first seed as they have a match against the Elite currently sitting in the wildcard spot. And with games still in hand to play this weekend against the Bulls, that playoff picture could shift as well in the Orange Conference. And really, there's just so much to play for. The fight at the top of the table right now in the Orange Conference, it's almost sorted out. It's not quite as memorable as some of the playoff runs in the Orange Conference have been in prior seasons, but it is still one of the close ones, especially with the Tropic Division as close as it is. There is room, albeit very narrowly, for both of the teams that don't win the Tropic Division title to actually miss out on the playoffs.
You would hate to see it. Every single one of our teams that we are going to see tonight very clearly have what it takes to make it into the playoffs, but unfortunately we have very select few spots in order to make that happen. So everybody fighting as hard as possible to get those coveted playoff spots. Jay, as we wait to get this lobby set back up here, Pandas versus Sharks, are there any individual players that have any sort of standout statistics that might have you turning your eye a little bit towards them more than any other player on the field to make the difference tonight?
I would look at, as far as the Sharks go, towards Hobo, a defensive standout for the team in making sure that the back end is shored up. And that's going to be important, I think, when you're playing with a player in Audi who's coming in as a reserve, might not have played a ton of Rocket League competitively this season for the team to try and shore things up. So you're expecting, I would say, a little bit to have to play out of the back a bit more. The Pandas, they like to play a good, intelligent level of Rocket League. They like to hold pressure in the offensive zone. They like to force mistakes. And I would expect that as the pressure mounts on the Sharks net, Hobo is going to have to stand up tall to really keep that net clean and give the Sharks a fighting chance.
We've seen stellar defensive records from all of these teams, but Pandas, I think probably have it a little slightly more in the bag. Pandas choosing to field Purple Hippo and Gualbertos tonight, going up against the Sharks' choice of, as the aforementioned, Adi. And I believe was it the Pope or Hobo? I lost track of who was playing there.
It is Hobo.
Hobo,
the Pope
thank
was
you.
Scheduled to play and is being replaced by Addy for this one.
Gotcha. Apologies. So so those are your lineups here tonight. So Purple Hippo and Gualbertos sitting on 13.5 and 14.5 salaries respectively. So relatively strong lineup. Not actually, that may be an A-B pairing. I think that's something that Jay, you may know a little bit more about. But Purple Hippo having a lot more experience under their belt. 20 games played compared to Gualberto's 5. Excuse me. On the other side of the ring, we've got Adi, who unfortunately I can't quite get stats for you right now, but the Hobo sitting on 30 games played. So very, very seasoned roster coming into this game for the Sharks.
Yeah, I would expect this one to be pretty much an early chess match. Do the Sharks settle in quickly enough that things can work out for them and they can find their footing, or do the Pandas take control of this one? As we finally got everybody in, we're finally ready to go here on Utopia Coliseum. 5 games set to see who can bring the Flames within reach for the Tropic Division lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting this kicked off. I do believe Adi waiting very patiently. No, Purple Hippo is going to take it away from him in the midfield. Adi now dribbling this off of that side wall. Hobo's going to potentially come in for support. Actually, he keeps his distance. A great save from Purple Hippo right at that near post. Sharks wasting no time early on here in game number 1. Gualbertos now missing this one, leaving Purple Hippo taking this all the way back into their own corner. Very patiently. Oh, Hobo. Oh, dangerous there. Purple Hippo almost knocking that into their own net. 30 seconds gone. A little bit of confusion in the back line for the Pandas. Sharks looking a little bit stronger here in the first, 40 seconds of this game 1.
Already a couple of influential plays by Hobo. This is Adi looking for the shot, and Gualbertos getting up to tip that away. It feels like both of these teams, again, that feeling out process settling in just a little bit here, is both of these teams trying to get a feel for this game, trying to get a feel for the rhythm of both their teammates and the opposition here, and it shows as neither team's had really fluid moments of play, but a couple of good chances off scrambles.
Purple Hippo chasing this across the face of the goal. Gets a great touch to beat one. Hobo's the only one back on defense, gets beaten, but Purple Hippo still stuck on that sidewall, looking for the pass, and a wonderful demo by Adi on Gualbertos removes any passing opportunity for the Pandas. They did so well to build that play up, but all of that momentum fizzled out into nothing, and they'll have to give it another shot. Purple Hippo looking for the pass out to Gualbertos yet again. Opts to take it all by himself, 0 boost. Has to rotate back only a slight bit to get that full boost. All the way down to half now. Adi sending this across, a well-done pass over to Hobo, but couldn't find that final touch. Purple Hippo with a shot, but net at the point of contact by Adi. Gualbertos now, 0 boost yet again. Both Pandas players probably could be served a little bit better to conserve their boost a little bit. Work on picking up pennies in the midfield. Don't be so reliant on those admittedly very tempting 100 boost pads in the corners.
Not just that, when you're running out of boost, the conservation of ball possession goes a long way towards putting yourself and your teammate in better spots to deal with this, although that one, a seeing eye shot, Purple Hippo picking up the loose ball here. The Sharks just not quite able to deal with that, as Adi's touch putting Hobo in a really tough spot defensively, and the Pandas take advantage.
Hobo not quite able to get to that near post in time, and we finally have the first goal of game number 1. As we said, Pandas taking the advantage. Hobo facing off there, roughly around the halfway line. Gualbertos up, puts this one on target. Necessary stop from Adi. Purple Hippo keeping it in the corner for now. Returning backwards. Gets that full boost. Hobo taking it, looking for the flick. Beats one. This will be off of the backboard. Rather, oh, the bounce shot doesn't quite work out. Foiled by that crossbar. Maybe a little bit too high. Purple Hippo now trying to go it alone. A great bump there from the Sharks player. Adi now chasing this back towards the Hippo, or the Hippo half. What? The Pandas half. This one sent now into the Sharks half. Gualberto's kind of losing possession of the ball in midair, not able to keep it close enough to his car to maintain a dangerous influence over it.
Conveniently, though, Purple Hippo well positioned to try and follow up that initial chance and keep the pressure on the Sharks net here. They'll need to continue to do more of this to not give the Sharks an easy ability to recover this ball, to put it back through midfield into the Pandas' end with that 1-goal lead.
A great shot from Purple Hippo, just skimming underneath the crossbar, gives the Pandas the 2-goal lead here.
This is what I talked about in terms of conservation of the ball. Hobo, just getting kind of an awkward wave dash hit into that. It slams it into the low part of the backboard, and it comes right back out in front for a one-timer off the nose of Purple Hippo's breakout on that one. And that's been 2 for the Sharks now off the initial touch by Adi on the first goal, and that one on Hobo's end that have led directly to 2 Pandas goals.
Knocked out central, dangerous, but Adi couldn't control this one. Gualbertos can't do the same either, pinches it off of that side post, and there is exactly why you've got teammates. Purple Hippo perfectly positioned to give the 3rd goal to the Pandas.
Well, Gualbertos does just enough to keep that alive after missing the initial shot. Might have been able to drive that one in. The Sharks were wholeheartedly beaten after Hobo dove in to look for the bump play, and Adi didn't get the touch needed at midfield to keep the play alive for the Sharks. Chasing the game by 3 now. The Sharks, they haven't had that consistency defensively so far that's been able to keep them close in this one, and this is the worry here. If they let this slip away, if they just don't quite have an answer for it, Leachy, I suspect this one might be swinging very firmly in the Pandas' favor.
Surprising, especially considering my early predictions. Adi trying to just flip the script entirely. There's 64 seconds left, but it may be too little too late. We'll have to see. There is still time left.
I love the decision by Hobo on this one to just kind of chip the ball against the near post, force Purple Hippo to make a decision, and then a bump for good measure to keep that lane open for Adi to get the aggressive circle around and try to look for that one off the kickoff play. A set one. Adi will make it 3-2. An important goal for the Sharks. Lots of time left.
Man, we constantly talk about how there's not a ton of time left, and then 2-goal leads, 3-goal leads, and then it's very rare that all of a sudden you get a team that's able to storm back and pull 2 goals back out of a 3-goal lead in maybe the span of 10 seconds. Sharks showing why they have such a scary stat sheet in terms of their goal difference. Sure, they let 3 past them because of the Pandas' shooting ability, but I'm looking to tie things up right here. They're gonna do it. Hobo with the solo play. There was a demo off the side, off of the not the field of play, outside of the play here, but didn't matter because the flick was just good enough to send it over the defender. Jay, we're back level.
Think about how much that missed touch by Gualberto sets that up for the Sharks. It's been equal parts on both sides of the field here that defensive misplays have led directly to goals, and this is why 2s can be such a swingy game mode at times. There's so much individual responsibility on players to do enough with the ball to not put themselves in tough spots as Gualbertos picks up the corner to midfield dribble and makes it 4-3 Pandas.
Gualbertos is like, hey, Hobo, you got solo flick plays, I got solo flick plays all day long. Pulling the lead back, 30 seconds left. Pandas all of a sudden go from a strong 3-goal lead to hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Sharks will clearly be doing everything within their power to pull one back. We know that they can. They came back from that 3-0 lead to tie it up. But as the clock ticks down, the time to do so yet again gets ever and ever shorter. This one pinched out here. Now Gualbertos waiting for this one to come down. May have been better served to jump high, just as Adi did, beating him to the ball. Up the sidewall now. Hobo needs to keep this up. Semi-pass over to Adi, who goes up for it. Not the best idea. Pandas will come away with the Game 1 victory. They have got to be breathing a massive sigh of relief.
I would have to agree with that one. There's a couple of mistakes for the Sharks go the Pandas' way, and then equally giving back those mistakes to allow the Sharks to get back into this one. It's really going to be a game of fine margins, I think, at this point, Leachy. It really comes down to which team settles into a rhythm and allows the other team to kind of play into those mistakes and make things happen for them. I feel like the Pandas at the moment might have the better of that. With the rotations I've been seeing from Purple Hippo, especially as the second player on these offensive forays, there's a lot of opportunity to recycle possession and put the Sharks under real pressure.
There could be a situation. I haven't personally had the honor of casting many Sharks games throughout the season, but I don't know them quite as personally as maybe some other people do. To me, this kind of smacks of a team that takes a little bit longer than desired to warm up to things. You hope that is contained within the first game of all 5 games of the series that we play here at Minor League Esports, and isn't something that follows them throughout the entire series, because if it does, and Pandas can get a little bit better at holding on to these strong, 2, 3, 4 goal leads that they'll be hoping they're capable of pulling out, I think things are going to start to look a little bit rougher for the Sharks as time goes on.
We'll also look at how effectively the Sharks were holding the Pandas scoreless. It was really just no rhythm from either team. There wasn't, again, a lot of fluid Rocket League play. It was back and forth on scrambles until one team finally broke down to the point where the mistake was actually costly. In this case here, I think that once both teams kind of realize that and settle things down, we'll start to see a little bit better play overall, as Hobo's going to look for the double touch. Doesn't quite have the momentum to get across to that one. Adi with the Statue of Liberty play almost on the fake to try and set that shooting lane up. Just didn't quite work out for the Sharks early.
Handling that dangerously out of his own half, but gets a favorable pinch. Adi beats the daylights out of the Pandas. Dodge left, dodge right. The ball is in the back of the net. What a goal.
Just enough to put Purple Hippo in a spot where they have to make a decision, and the recovery by Adi much better to get on the opposite side of that, get the flip back to propel it to the back corner, as 150 into the midfield is enough to set that one up, and the Sharks will take the lead.
Robertos, a probing shot on target, making Hobo have to dive a little bit stronger than he may have been planning to make that save. Works out in the end, though. Purple Hippo waiting on the goal line. Nothing coming from Hobo. Adi all the way back by himself, but has enough control to at least see it wide for the time being. That one's another shot on target. Adi was luckily the one rotating back in position to deal with that errant clearance / save there. Purple Hippo sends this one straight up. Alberto's retreating all the way back. Hobo takes it upon himself to run along that right side wall. Oh, looked for that slow play. Pandas almost fooled, but didn't quite jump high enough for the ball to scoot underneath. The score remains 1-0. Sharks are still holding on to this lead.
Right, but the Sharks have started to grow into this one here. You see that little bit of swagger almost growing into their play here as they're trying better and more complex kind of things. They're trying to play a little bit of 5D chess here with the Pandas roster, and that might serve them well here, as the Pandas have been pretty straightforward. It's see ball, hit ball, maybe hit ball twice and get things going, and a lot of that comes off of Sharks' misplays, which are starting to become fewer and further between.
Albertos takes it off to the right side wall, leaves it to Purple Hippo to take over. Gualberto's positioning in midfield. As Purple Hippo, sees it straight across the face of an open goal, but no teammate there to collect. Score remains 0 on the Pandas side. This one now looking for another passing opportunity was Gualbertos. Purple Hippo will catch this in his own half. Adi, a great dunk here. Still in the corner. Very patiently now off of that, off the ceiling. Purple Hippo and Adi facing off. A favorable 50 going the way of the Pandas. Gualbertos does excellently to direct that on target from the halfway mark. 1-1.
A lot of this, I think, came down to the Sharks getting very congested in that offensive corner. Hobo went for the initial play over the top of Adi, who kind of spun around instead of rotating back. Got the Sharks defensively very pushed in towards that Pandas corner, so much so that 150, which came on the play by Adi to keep that alive, just went all the way against them.
Gualbertos, plenty of room to work with, has Purple up in support, looking for the bump play, but Adi gets to the ball before he got a chance to become dangerous. Purple, high and long. Hobo taking his time, deciding to go for this. Gets a great stop. Adi does the same, but it's still dangerous at the top of the box. And this one, oh, is going to walk its way in. I thought maybe Adi nicked it just enough to keep it out, but it wasn't meant to be.
Got credit for the save, but unfortunately pinching it against the post, it just bounced the wrong way. And sometimes the physics engine just does not like you, and that's one of those times.
To the Rocket League gods for a do-over, I'm sure. Gualberto's turning in the corner. Adi just kind of pancaking it off of that wall. Purple Hippo, strong clearance opportunity, but doesn't quite get enough meat behind that one. Now Hobo looking for the pass over to Adi. Eventually does get it off, but Purple Hippo up quick and early to cut out that opportunity. Final 90 seconds. Jay, have we seen anything different here compared to game one?
I mean, not really. It's, again, been two mistakes by the Sharks that have gone against them and forced them to chase this game, whereas the Pandas have not done a great job generating anything. They've let the Sharks kind of open up the opportunities for them, as this one should have been 2-2. It might still be, as a bump by Hobo on Gualberto's almost opens it up, but there just wasn't enough zip on the shot by Adi. Really should have just been an open net score from Hobo, and the miss leaves the Sharks still chasing this by one.
Hobo will see this clear off his right side. Adi chasing this one, as is Gualberto's. Adi will get there first. Backboard pass. Hobo having to chase this now into his own half. Purple Hippo retreating for now. Actually has a great shot opportunity. Turns into a backboard pass, and Gualberto's can't find it on target. Hobo now catching this one here. Final 30 seconds and change. Adi off that right side wall. Purple Hippo cutting it out. Temporary 2v1. Has Gualberto's ready for the pass, but can't beat the first defender in the form of Hobo. 2v1 again, but now in the Sharks' favor. This one pinched off that back wall. Dangerous. Adi gets there just in time. 8 seconds left. The Sharks have tied it up.
Sometimes the first instinct you have to make a play is the wrong one, and in this case, Gualberto's, in desperation after getting beat on the first play, does anything to put the ball away from the next play, which really wasn't coming from Hobo. It careens off the post, nowhere that Purple Hippo can react to that, and unfortunately this one gets tied late. Almost a lead as Hobo from downtown looks for the game winner, but it'll be golden goal instead to settle game two.
Adi and Gualberto's. Kickoff here, kickoff going more favorably towards the Pandas, but now the Sharks taking it out of their own half. Purple Hippo very calmly, 2v1 for the time being. Looks for the 50 against Adi, but Adi refuses to be beaten. David versus Goliath, almost. Hobo can't walk that one into the back of the net. Adi will catch this. Face off against Gualberto's, who does win that 50. Purple Hippo trying to pass this mid. Can't beat Hobo at that near post. This one's just kind of bouncing back and forth. No team gaining a ton of possession here in the first 30 seconds of overtime. Maybe a little bit of nerves, a little bit of jitteriness. They know that a game win here could potentially turn the tide of how this series is going. We do play all 5 games here in minor league esports, but every single game is still important. It doesn't matter if you're winning or losing the series. You still need to pull everything you possibly can out of it. And an overtime situation is just, it's not going to be good for the nervous system.
Well, the Pandas with the one-game win just doing a little bit more in terms of their own playoff hopes here. Again, both these teams, really a 3-2 puts them into a number of tiebreaker situations for the playoff spots. All 3 teams at the top of the Tropic Division, the Flames, the Sharks, and the Pandas, within striking distance of that division lead at this point here. So there's a lot to play for. Every game matters at this point. Even losing the first 3, if you're the Sharks here, and let the Pandas come back in this one and maybe take the next one, winning the final 2 of the set means so much towards keeping your own playoff hopes alive.
Purple Hippo. Shot opportunity. Can't find it on target, but the save was there from Adi regardless. Purple Hippo rotating patiently back off that side wall. Hobo will cut it out, send it back down the other way. Gualberto's, oh no, the team bump right kind of halfway into their half of their field, but did not wind up being punished for the time being. Adi waiting for this one to come down. Will actually rotate out, probably on the command of Hobo. Great to see comms here. Oh, that one's up. just off of that crossbar. Hobo will look for the clearance over to the left side where Audi is sitting, waiting patiently to bring this one down. Maybe a bit too patiently, has it taken away from him by Gualbertos. And the demo here, 2v1. If Hippo can get on it, he can, but Audi was equal to it. Now the ball going back and forth in midfield. We played a game and a half of Rocket League so far. Oh, could it come to an end right there? No, Gualbertos couldn't beat the defender. Have yet to see that final spark of inspiration that puts this game 2 to bed.
It kind of gotten back towards that early game 1 phase of scramble offense and scramble defense. Both teams just so desperate to make something happen that things are getting messy in both aspects of the play. The defensive clears, they're not really getting followed up effectively. The initial shots are getting saved, but there isn't a great rotation in place to follow up on that and take advantage of a defense that might be struggling to get an effective control over the ball.
Gualbertos. Over to Audi. Purple Hippo takes it away. Hobo won't be beaten at their near post. Coming to 3.5 minutes at this point. Hobo, plenty of boost, beats one, but gets bumped away from the ball for his efforts. This one's still drifting on target, but easily stopped there by Purple Hippo. Gets the flick, pass one, but gets demoed. Gualbertos has an opportunity, but met at the point of contact yet again by Audi. We've seen just fantastic defensive efforts by every person on the field so far, but Audi and Hobo, 3 and 5 saves to their name respectively. You feel like the Sharks are getting pinned back maybe a little bit more compared to the Pandas because of the Pandas' just relentless offense. Pandas have 12 shots to their name. Sharks only 8. So Sharks, maybe if you're feeling the pressure a little bit, just work on getting those shots out. We understand that the Pandas are, pinning you guys back, but work on those booming clears, and like Jay was saying, slightly better rotations. Get yourself in a better position to capitalize on those clearances, turn the clearances into a pass, and make something of it. Oh, that is making something of it. Hobo, finally, we almost played 2 whole games here in game 2, but stopping it before we had that opportunity. Goal number 3 gives game number 2 to the Sharks.
All of that was Audi on the dunk after Purple Hippo got the ball up towards the backboard, spent so much boost to try and do that, could only recover straight down into net. Audi with the dunk on Gualbertos off the backboard, left an open lane for Hobo to shoot at, just had to get up to the top of the bar to put it under for the overtime winner. 9 saves, though, by the Sharks. You were talking about it at length there, Leach, as to why, or how they were getting pinned back in their end, how they were having to withstand so much pressure from the Pandas offense. And a lot of that just came down to what I was talking about in game 1, the lack of conservation on the ball in these situations where the Sharks were just getting one desperate clear far enough for them to maybe grab 2 boost pads, but it let the Pandas recycle possession at midfield very effectively, and it resulted in shot after shot after shot after shot that the Sharks just continued to parry away long enough to find that one opening.
Do you think, even though the Sharks did manage to pull this game 2 overtime off, do you think that overall there's still a little bit of a worrying picture here? Because yes, we're talking about them being pinned back in their half. They still managed to pull game 2, but with the amount of shots, they did eventually almost equal the amount of shots that the Pandas put in there throughout game 2. But to me, I don't know. It still wasn't quite a convincing performance. I think the Pandas might still have a little bit of an upper hand if the Sharks manage to win this game 3 as we're about to get it underway. If they manage to pull this one off in a slightly more convincing manner, then I think my opinion will be swayed.
Neither team was particularly convincing in their play throughout the course of that one, as the long overtime kind of suggested that there isn't a lot to choose from between these two teams because they're equal measures of skill and desperation in their play at times. They just don't quite have what feels like a set game plan. It's really just the ball goes where the ball goes, and we're going to try to do something else with it after that, as Gualbertos will lift that out to midfield. Audi has to come back and react to that, and still ends up losing control of the ball. Will get the boost, and Hobo just able to get away from the bump on that one from Gualbertos. That might have been dangerous for the Pandas on offense.
I was so ready to yell at the top of my lungs for a team bump there, but it's not meant to be. Hobo putting this one up. Another probing shot on target. That's the way to do it. Sharks get the lead here in game number 3.
Sometimes all it takes is one good 50 to put a team in a tough spot defensively. Gualbertos was kind of tracking that, but never really made an attempt to play the ball as Hobo went up with intent, with a mission to put that ball on target. You don't need to put a lot of power on it when you get past both players with that single play.
Just put the ball on target. I've talked at length through many of my casts, Jay, about the underrated skill, especially in leagues like this, at Champion League. Just put the ball on target. It, like you said, it doesn't necessarily need to be powerful, but it's what can give you many, many free goals if you're just getting a clear, or rather, you're making a difference between a clearance and a deep shot on target. If you're just slamming it upfield, at least give the ball some purpose, and that's clearly what these Sharks players are capable of doing. Hobo finding that one on target and also finding an excellent save there. High-speed shot knocked away, and they're looking to build here. Hobo chasing Gualbertos, making sure he doesn't have a single second to his own. Purple Hippo now. Gualbertos going for the charge there, and it didn't matter because Hobo still manages to get the block.
Both of these teams now just chasing the physical play deep into the corner, looking for the aggressive boost steals, and it's really dangerous, I feel, at this point of the game, with everything kind of resting on this one-goal differential between the teams. It really feels like if there isn't a payoff on that gamble, on that dive down towards the offensive corner to grab the boost pad, to look for the bump or the demo, it might not happen for you, and that one is a couple cracks in it for the Pandas. Gualbertos makes it 1-1.
Off of the roof there, or the ceiling rather, Gualbertos does get the shot off. You thought Hobo just had enough of the car behind the ball, but the Rocket League game decided otherwise. So 1-1 now. Pandas looking a little bit tidier compared to how they were looking in earlier in this game. Adi coming in now. Gualbertos keeping this out. Purple Hippo opts not to chase this, goes for the full boost instead. May have been the wiser decision because he now comes away with possession. And as I say that, concedes it rather to Adi, who does get demolished. Gualbertos, great flick to beat Hobo. Adi, just standing up tall, yet just time and time again, Jay. I'm loving the defensive efforts I'm seeing from Adi, especially when they can translate into offensive passes like that. Beautifully executed. It's now 2-1.
I was criticizing the lead play of both of these teams for a little bit of the stretch of this game. This is a perfect textbook example of when it works. When the team gets beat on that second hold-in play, the other player coming out is in full retreat. There's no harm, really, in going upfield looking for that lead pass. It's exactly what Hobo does. Adi hits them on the tape, and it's a 2-1 game.
Hobo trying to pull this to a 3-1 game with Gualbertos. Foiling that plan for now. Hippo, almost getting Goomba stomped by Hobo, but wasn't meant to be. Hobo chasing back now. Play is slowed down just a little bit after that second goal from the Sharks. Maybe the Pandas being stunned a little bit, not stunned enough to stop them from scoring. What a flick yet again for Gualbertos.
A little bit of a Statue of Liberty play, too. Purple Hippo almost looking like the shot might come there. It freezes Adi in net. Just enough space for Gualbertos to set up the double shot off the ground to get that over. Deuces wild. 1:42 here to go in Game 3.
Out to that left/right side, depending on what side you're on. Adi up to Hobo. Well passed, but Purple Hippo gets in the way of the momentum for the time being. Hobo breaks off only for a split second to get that full boost, prepare himself for the onslaught, but Hippo sends it long, and now Hobo in an iffy spot if Hippo can get that on target, which he did, but Hobo positioned himself very, very well to get that stop. Gualbertos now in the corner will be beaten. Up for Adi. Neither Adi nor Purple Hippo making contact on that. The game stays tied, as you said, deuces wild as we get down to the final 60 seconds.
Again, a couple close chances at either end. I wonder how much of Adi's intent to go up for that one relied on a hit by Purple Hippo. It really felt like there was a bit of a bailout on that one, playing for the block more than the shot on goal, and ends up neither player hitting that one, although the Sharks out of boost here. Hobo needs a flick to get this one cleared. Good pressure by Gualbertos will keep that one alive on the offense. It's Hobo trying to pick this one up. This is the Sharks under pressure here, Lychee. They need to get this clear. That one might not do it. It's a desperation touch by Adi to keep that away.
So very close as we get into the final 30 seconds. Hobo looking for a solo effort, but Purple Hippo thwarting that one. Hobo's up. Oh, won't make contact. Gualbertos will, but foiled by that crossbar. And now Purple Hippo sprinting back. Can he get back there in time? He can. Pinches it off of that left post. Desperation yet again. It seems to be the name of the game here in the final 60 seconds or so of game number 3. Jay, I feel like we may be headed for another overtime unless Pandas can make something happen right now. Adi keeping this one high. It will hit the ground. Overtime, game 3. I think we're in for a long evening.
Well, we'll see. This kickoff, we've seen the Sharks score a couple quick ones off of the kickoff. This one's setting up nicely. Adi looking for Hobo on the redirect. Good save by Gualbertos. Read that one well as the set play again by the Sharks looking dangerous, but they just don't make contact on it.
Now Purple Hippo and Gualbertos, their own opportunity to break out, but the flick will not fool Hobo. Purple Hippo up his own back wall off that right side there. Adi going up. Adi versus Gualbertos. Adi comes out the victor. Sharks pull ahead in the series.
Loose touch by Purple Hippo. Doesn't have enough speed to get the follow-up. Adi reads it really, really well. Baits out the challenge from Gualbertos. Gets over top. Has the angle right. Sharks lead the series 2-1.
Man, it's so close every single game, and I don't know if it's, I mean, Jet, you're probably more qualified to speak on it than I am, but like I'm looking at the stats here and it looks so identical, and it's because the play was so close. I still am not seeing anything that is making me think that either of these teams have a very clear advantage. And again, when we go back and you know, review the stat lines for both of these guys, the Sharks, to me at least, look like the clear favorites, and Pandas are doing their absolute best to give them a true run for their money here.
The Pandas, I think, have really struggled through the last couple of games to get the Sharks in really uncomfortable spots. They've been in a couple uncomfortable ones. They've given up a couple of chances to the Pandas that have really been able to be converted into goals. But for whatever reason, they just can't stretch this out far enough to be out of reach for the Sharks. Even in game 1, where they staked themselves out to a 3-0 lead early on, it wasn't quite enough because they just don't have that same level of consistency required to lock a game down and fully take control of it.
Game 4, it's another shot to lock it down and take control of it. We'll see if Purple Hippo Gualbertos of the Pandas have what it takes, or whether Adi and Hobo, now a single game away from taking the series overall, are able to put it away. 5 minutes on the clock. Time will tell, as the cliche goes. Purple Hippo facing off against Hobo in the midfield. This could be wide open for the Sharks, but Hobo taking his time to get up to that ball was too much time in the end. And this one sent all the way down wide. Purple Hippo, an opportunity to put this in, but doesn't get a strong enough touch. Hobo in the end wasn't really challenged there. And now a 2v1 if Hobo can knock it across, I think was on a very low boost situation. And now Gualbertos looking to break for his own team. Purple Hippo having to retreat back now. Forgoes getting that full boost pad. I think that was definitely the smart move. May have been a split second too late to get to that ball had he gone for the old adage boost over ball. Lucky to see that the players are starting to shy away from that just a little bit here in Minor League Esports Champion League.
Well, the beauty of it is that when you do the math on how much boost pads give you and how quickly you can run over those pennies with your routing on the field as you track and rotate around the ball, it really doesn't take a lot of effort combined with a little bit of mechanical consistency to keep your speed and momentum up on your car while conserving your boost and collecting to keep yourself topped up for situations where you really need to hold that trigger down.
Purple Hippo holding that trigger down, heading all the way up that side wall, well, about halfway up, and then just getting the ball completely stolen away from him. This one's off of that ceiling. Now Gualbertos maintaining momentum out of that corner, but easily cleared away by Hobo. Purple Hippo will take it for a second opportunity. And Hobo, yet again, proving or playing folly to the best laid plans by the Pandas. Although this demo may open things up just a little bit, Hobo dodging at the very last second to get back, almost a pre-flip of sorts to make sure that that save came out. 2 minutes have gone by the wayside. We have yet to see the opening goal of game number 4.
3 saves already for Hobo. We talked about it in the preamble about how much importance Hobo has to the defensive hopes of the Sharks. Probably a big reason why the goal differential is so high, because there's a number of these chances just absolutely blunted by Hobo being able to get back, get in front of that ball before it crosses the line.
Purple Hippo, dangerous, bringing that down to Gualbertos. Not a convincing clearance, giving Hobo an opportunity, but couldn't quite control it in the way necessary. And now Purple Hippo can't get to that ball in time, and now no one will be receiving this one except for Hobo. And Purple Hippo actually killed enough time to where it turned into a 50-50 there. Purple Hippo and Gualbertos needing to spread out a little bit, may be punished for it. It's looking almost in. It's off of that right side post. Pandas stacking up, and they finally will be punished for it. Confusion within the Pandas box, and Hobo will capitalize.
I was so surprised that Hobo didn't dive that off the post. With how scrambly the Pandas were coming back to try and deal with that ball, it ends up not mattering really, as the Pandas, for all the effort coming back, could not find a way to get a touch on that one. Interesting kickoff play by Adi, as it looks like the controller malfunction. Hobo on the cheat up, just able to keep away what should have been a sure Pandas goal off the kickoff.
Gualbertos, another dangerous touch, needing his teammate in support to make sure that it stays away from that goal mouth. Oh, and it almost magnetically finds its way back across the top of the box, but Hobo couldn't direct it on target. This one's up off that ceiling. Purple Hippo will pick this up. Has a shot, easily saved by Hobo. Adi will pick this up. Oh, great 1v1. Gets the demo on Gualbertos, but not before Gualbertos manages to get the save. Looking for plenty of physical play. Adi went for a second demo. Gualbertos can't make contact. Hobo now. One to beat. Purple Hippo. Oh, great. Stands up super tall just before that near post, refusing to be beaten. May not be over, though. A great pass from Adi over to Hobo. Done to perfection. Sharks have a 2-goal lead now.
The Pandas in desperate measures trying to throw that ball away from net. They needed to score that opportunity prior, where Gualbertos wasn't able to hit the aerial with both Sharks players retreating. That lack of contact, the ball fell to Purple Hippo without an ability to react to that one. As a little bit of faith put in the teammate to make contact goes a long way sometimes. The Pandas now chasing this one here. They need this game to stay alive in the series, to potentially fall, or keep themselves from falling down towards those tiebreakers, which I think you and I both know, Leachy, sometimes they just don't break your way. And it would be a shame for a team that made it to the MLE Championship Series in CL last season to possibly miss out on the playoffs by a couple of games here against the division rival that you really had the measure of.
It would be a shame indeed. You never want to see teams that have this history of doing so well in the past just fall from grace so severely. Still time in the season, not a lot. We're only about, like 1 or 2 more weeks left, but which is exactly why you want to get everything possible out of these series. But as the time ticks down to 15 seconds, I don't know if the Pandas have enough in the tank to get anything more than 2 games at most out of this series, because the Sharks look surefire to take this one. Hobo passing this over to Adi, can't get goal number 1. It doesn't matter. Game number 4, and this series will go to the Sharks. Pandas have one more game to pull as positive of a result out of this series as possible.
Well, right now, the Sharks with a share of the Provisional Tropic Division lead coming out of this week. One more game will give them sole control. A loss in Game 5 to the Pandas ensures a 3-way tie between the teams going into the final week of the regular season. I don't like predictions, Leachy. I won't make one here. But it just feels like as things break for both of these teams, they seem to break the Sharks' way.
I agree. I'm one to make slightly riskier predictions at the beginning of the series, but honestly, I think anything I said at the beginning goes out the window because of how close these games have been until game number 4. I mean, looking at the points difference even between Hobo and Addy, I know points aren't everything, and people have heard me say this 1,000 times, but at the very least, they're a decent indicator of how much contribution you're offering to the play. Adi sitting on 200 points compared to Hobo's 692. Hobo very, very active on both sides of the ball. Adi, I think something that doesn't get credited enough. I mean, objectively doesn't, because you don't get points for demos and bumps. But Adi, I feel like, found a completely different gear in terms of his physical play throughout game number 4, and I think it was a very big difference in turning the tide of the momentum of the series.
Yeah, it really just came down to the Sharks. I think finding a bit of rhythm. We talked about being lacking through the first part of this set. Once the Sharks got inside the Pandas' head a little bit, once they were able to force the Pandas into making mistakes, then there really were opportunities. They didn't get a lot of them. They didn't need a lot of them, really, because the Pandas just, for whatever reason, weren't able to put themselves into good spots to try and really take advantage of the things that the Sharks weren't doing well enough.
Absolutely. And now the Sharks are sitting on a 3-1 series scoreline. Not all is lost for the Pandas. They can still pull a game back, but man, something's got to change. Deal with that aggression, this newfound aggression that has come out of Adi. Deal with the shooting ability of Hobo, and you have a chance. Now, I understand. Great job, Leachy. Those were like the most vague instructions possible, but I don't know. I'm not, in my opinion, from what I just saw in game number 4, it's gonna take a ton of nose to the grindstone.
I think it really just comes down to catching the Sharks at the right time. We saw a lot of aggressive positioning out of Hobo and Adi, looking for bumps and boost steals. Those are the times to really put the nose through that ball, to send it upfield, to put them in full retreat, make them spend all that stolen boost to come back and try to defend facing their own net, where it's often a lot more awkward.
Well, Hippo trying to make things awkward for Adi, who just throws it back in his face with that demolition. Trying to be aggressive as well. Went for the second bump/demo attempt on Gualbertos, but just couldn't find contact. Gualbertos now out of the corner, out towards midfield. Hobo will cut it out. Will keep possession of it. Adi waiting at the top of the box. Oh, Hippo didn't quite get the clearance that he needed, but the Sharks just unable to capitalize. You feel like they want that chance back again. That was a perfect opportunity to go 1-0 up and work towards sealing game number 5 in their favor.
Little bit of greed coming out of the Sharks as Hobo went for the shot, took it away from Adi at a better angle. Purple Hippo, though, great job catching this, controlling it. Adi's looking for the bump in the backfield. You won't catch it on the replay, but Hobo's frozen in net. There's so little you can do there as a defender when somebody, especially in a breakout, that's so good at picking up control of that ball and flicking it to really ridiculous angles will put you in tough spots. Hobo, though, makes up for it. A great kickoff play makes it 1-1.
He just absolutely scrambling. I can't even imagine how quickly he was trying to orient his car to try and get that one on target. I mean, beautifully done. Poor controller, but hey, if it results in tying game 5 back up, then you'll take that all day long. Could be even worse. No, Hobo can't get to that ball in time. Purple Hippo has it taken away. Hobo coming away with possession yet again. Adi yet again, waiting at the top of the box with Gualbertos. Has a kind of pinging clear off of the nose of the offender. Adi now misses this one. Wide open opportunity. All Purple Hippo needs to do is direct it on target, and he can't. Misses the follow-up yet again. Jay, we were talking about the simple ability to put the ball on target with a clearance, and that just Pandas, that opportunity going by the wayside, had a great shot to make it 2-1, but we're back. Well, not back even. We remain even for the time being.
The Pandas taking a book out of my own playbook as the Dodgers GM. Just hit the post and maybe something good will happen. The only caveat to that is don't hit it on the open net. That one, Purple Hippo just took a little bit less time than needed to bring that one down. It was open, just had to be driven in. What a demo, though, by Hobo as the Sharks, again, smell blood in the water. They're looking for these plays to just disrupt the Pandas, make them frustrated. The only catch is they just have to make them count, and they haven't quite put the Pandas away yet.
Gualberto's looking to put this one away, foiled by the crossbar yet again, but Purple Hippo cleans it up couple seconds before halftime, and Pandas pull back a lead.
I think Audi got a little bit frozen by the pre-flip to get towards the center of the net on that low boost in the tank to work with, and that ball was just awkward enough that Hobo had a really difficult time getting up to that with the boost levels in the tank. Purple Hippo waiting in a good spot to clean that up, and the Pandas, their first lead in what feels like 2 or 3 games.
I feel like that's exactly what it is, and you will have to see now how hard they're capable of fighting for it and holding on to it. Have an entire half of a Rocket League game to play here. Purple Hippo. Oh, an opportunity to make that 3. I think Hobo just got enough of a piece on it, disrupting Hippo's plans there. Gualberto's now along that side wall, moves into the middle of the field across. Purple Hippo will assume the support role, per se, waiting for this one to come down, catches this one. Oh, it is on target, and then Gualberto's, I don't know if that was a planned pass play or if he was just in the middle of a flip rotating back, but ruins any kind of momentum that the Pandas had built up, and they have to go at it again. Minute 45 left here.
I'm pretty sure somebody leaked the Dodgers playbook, because I swear I saw my team do one of those exact plays a couple weeks ago.
Oh, dear Lord. Hippo and Hobo pitching this one straight up. Hobo passing this across to Adi, but not before Gualbertos gets there. Open opportunity yet again. If Purple Hippo can just get there in time, could not get there in time. The angle, was narrowing as the seconds ticked on. Now Adi has possession of it. Still, kind of ceding possession there momentarily to the Hippos before Hobo picks it back up. Fighting in the corner, Gualbertos over to Adi. Adi, open goal here now for the Sharks, but Gualberto scrambling back. We've seen so many opportunities here that it should probably be like a 4 to 5 goal game, but Hobo is finally able to tie this one up. It's 2-2.
I don't know if that looked like it might have lagged on Purple Hippo's screen. As Hobo and Gualbertos, it almost felt like, to me at least, Gualbertos got another touch, but the server said no, and it squeaks through as Purple Hippo got stuck in a really tough spot on that play. It was a good aggressive turn, though, by Hobo to keep it alive. It's 2-2, Lishi. We've seen this a lot. Deuces wild between these teams with the seconds ticking away.
Could we go for our 3rd overtime of tonight? Stay strapped in, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to find out. 30 seconds and change here. Purple Hippo, high 5 demo there. Don't see that a lot. Gualbertos now facing off against Adi. Pinches this all the way across into the Sharks corner. Hobo getting there. Purple Hippo, the backflip. Always a risky play. I should know. I do it all the time, but the Sharks, yet again, unable to capitalize. And the Pandas won't miss this one. 13 seconds left, and they have the lead.
I'm at a complete and utter loss for words right now, as it was wide open for the Sharks. It's a 2-goal swing. It's 13 seconds to go. The Pandas have a lead. They have a paw on the Tropic Division lead, a share of it at the very least, as the final seconds here will tick down. Gualberto's one for the road, and that should just about seal it, Lichi. A 3-way tie for the Tropic Division lead.
3-way tie. Jay, I can't even imagine what is going to happen within this division as we near closer and closer to the end of the season. I mean, you're the stats man. We're going to have to go down to like the 4th or 5th tie-breaking statistic. It's such a nail-biting finish here in the Tropic Division. I absolutely cannot wait, ladies and gentlemen. This is the kind of action that you tune into minor league esports for. Pandas take game number 5. In total, it is a 3-2 series in favor of the Sharks. Very, very close throughout, but Sharks had just a little bit extra in the tank.
Yeah, they did just enough through the middle stanza of this set to get themselves a series win. I'm not even going to bother trying to look at notes for the tiebreaker scenarios or anything like that. Just watch the games next week. That's going to settle it. All the teams play each other one more time. As there's just still lots left to play for. You know what? Like, let's walk away from this one, Lichi. It was anyone's guess where either any of these 5 games went. They were all, for the most part, 1 to 2 goal games. It was games 4 and 5 that were decided by 2 goals, and you still didn't feel like it was any anybody's game but whoever Rocket League decided to let win that one. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, many, many ways. Listen, at the end of the day, I had fun. There were cheers, there were tears, there were some facepalm moments. But at the end of it all, Sharks come away with the 3-2 victory. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. On the other side of this break, we have some Foundation League action coming straight to your face. You're not going to want to miss it.